Hello and welcome to this second look exploring session looking at The Three Ladies of London by Robert Wilson, a play we did a first look at a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This dates from the early 1580s, 1581. I've got a very definite date Wiggins has given me here, and it's probably the Earl of Leicester's Men, but we think this is a play that is then taken up by the Queen's Men a little later on, because that's where the sequel to the Three Ladies of London, the Three Lords and Three Ladies of London, ends up being. So it's not a desperately long play in the grand scheme of things, but we're not sure if we're going to finish it in one session. We're going to try, but we'll see if we'll run out of steam. Just general content warnings. This is a satire about money. And usury, and as such, there may be some problematic elements, especially in regards to Jewish characters, and/or just the concept of usury generally tends to drift in an anti-Semitic fashion, either in coding or in explicit terms. There's almost certainly some misogyny in this, and all sorts of other problems that may or may not exist when the text flows at speed. But in theory, for this read-through, with all of those things in our awarenesses, reading Lady Lucre, Cogging, and Wily Will is...
Alexandra, hello.
Reading Simplicity, Artifex, Judge of Turkey, and Clark is...
Irene.
Reading Fraud, Hospitality, and Judge Nemo, if we get that far, is...
Rachael, actor, host.
Reading Prologue, Simony, Mercatore, Sincerity, and Diligence is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm ready and willing. Just putting that out there.
Reading Dissimulation, Tom Beggar, and Pleasman is...
Another Rachael.
Reading Conscience and Gerontus is...
Lynn, coming to you from the US today.
And reading Fame, Usury, Nicholas Nemo, and Beadle is...
Alan in Suffolk.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading Love and Lawyer, unless I can redistribute them as we go. There is a way of doing that for this number of people in the room, but things went a bit wrong last minute, so I'm not able to do that. Anyway, so this is second look, so we're going to be doing this at pace. We're not going to be doing stage directions. There's no rehearsal for this. There's no prep. This is just how it's going to come. There are 2 songs in the play. We're going to mark those songs. It's going to be chaos, but no one's going to be attempting to sing beautifully or do anything like that. There may be some physical action that won't make any sense to you whatsoever. And as say, all the previous content warnings and general early modern content warnings all apply. So that's it from me for this introduction. I will now hand you over to the prologue. To Prologue.
To sit on honor's seat, it is a lofty reach. To seek for praise by making brags of times it doth get a breach. We list not ride the rolling racks that dims the crystal skies. We mean to set no glimmering glance before your courteous eyes. We search not Pluto's pensive pit, nor taste of Limbo Lake. We do not show of warlike fight as sword and shield to shake. We speak not of the powers divine, nay yet of furious sprites. We do not seek high hills to climb, nor talk of love's delights. We do not here present to you the thresher with his flail. Do we present to you the milkmaid with her pail? We show not you of country toil, as hedger with his bill. We do not bring the husbandman to lop and top with skill. We play not here the gardener's part to plant, to set, and sow. You marvel then what stuff we have to furnish out our show. Your patience yet we crave a while, till we have trimmed our stole. Then young and old come and behold our wares and buy them all. Then, if our wares shall seem to you well woven, good and fine, we hope we shall have your custom again another time.
Lady Conscience, what shall we say to our estates? To whom shall we complain? Or how shall we abridge such fates as heapeth up our pain? 'Tis Lucre now that rules the rout. 'Tis she is all in all. 'Tis she that holds her head so stout. In fine, 'tis she that works our fall. Oh, conscience, I fear a day that we by her and usury shall quite be cast away.
Indeed, I fear the worst, for every man doth sue, and comes from countries strange and far, of her to have a view, although they ought to seek true love and conscience clear. But love and conscience few do like that lean on Lucre's chair. Men ought be ruled by us, we ought in them bear sway, so should each neighbour live by other in good estate, alway.
Oh, for Lucre men come from Italy, Barbary, Turkey, from Jury, nay, the pagan himself endangers his body for to gape for her pelf. Nay, forsake mother, prince, country, religion, kith and kin, nay, men, and care not what they forsake, so Lady Lucre they win, that we poor ladies may sigh to see our states thus turned and tossed, and worse is like to be where Lucre rules the roost.
You say the truth. Yet God, I trust, will not admit it so, that love and conscience by Lucre's lust shall catch an overthrow.
Your ladies rest content, and you, no doubt, shall see them plagued with painful punishment for such their cruelty. And if true love and conscience live, Lucre's lust lascivious, then fame a triple crown will give, which lasteth aye victorious.
God grant that conscience keep within the bounds of right, and that vile Lucre do not haunt her heart with deadly spite.
And grant, O God, that love be found in city, town, and country, which causeth wealth and peace abound, and pleaseth God Almighty.
But, ladies, is't your pleasure to walk abroad a while, and recreate yourselves with measure, your sorrows to beguile?
Pass on, good fame, your steps do frame, on you we will attend, and pray to God that holds the rod our states for to defend.
Nay, no less than a farmer, a right honest man, but my tongue cannot stay me to tell what I am. Nay, who is it that knows me not by my party-coloured head? They may well think that see me, my honesty is fled. Tush, a fig for honesty, tut, let that go. Sith men, women, and children my name and doings do know. My name is Dissimulation, and no base mind I bear, for my outward effects my inward zeal do declare. For men do dissemble with their wives, and their wives with them again, so that in their hearts of them I always remain. The child dissembles with his father, the sister with her brother, the maiden with her mistress, and the young man with his lover. There is dissimulation between neighbor and neighbor, friend and friend, one with another, between the servant and his master, between brother and brother. Then why make you it strange that ever you knew me, seeing so how I range throughout every degree? But I forget my business. I'll towards London as fast as I can, to get entertainment of one of the three ladies, like an honest man.
They say there is a preferment in London to have mass, and there be, I'll be passing and brave. Why, I'll be no more a miller, because the maidens call me Dusty Pole. One thumps me on the neck, and another strikes me in the knoll. And you see I am a handsome fellow. Mark the compactness of my stature. Faith, I'll go seek pre-adventure and a serving creature.
Whither away, good fellow, I pray thee declare.
Marry, I'll clear thee, to London. Would thou didst so there?
What if I did? Would it be better for thee?
Aye, marry, should it, for I love honest company.
Agreed, there's a bargain. But what shall I call thee?
'Cause thou art an honest man, I'll tell thee, my name is Simplicity.
A name agreeing to thy nature. But stay, here comes more company.
Once aloft, and I may hit in the right vein, where I may beguile easily without any great pain. I will flaunt it and brave it after the lusty swash. I'll deceive thousands. Who care I who lie in the lash?
What fraud! Well met. Whither travellest thou this way?
To London, to get entertainment there, if I may. Of the three ladies, Lucre, Love, and Conscience, I care not whom I serve, the devil, so I may get pence.
O fraud! I know thee for a deceitful knave, and art thou gotten so bonifacious and brave? I know thee when thou dwellest at a place called Gravesend, and the guests knew thee too, because thou wast not their friend. For when you shouldst bring reckoning to the guests, thou would put twice so much, and swear it cost thy dame no less. So thou didst deceive them, and thy dame too, and because they spied thy knavery, away thou didst go. Then thou didst go into Hertfordshire to a place called Ware, and because horses stood at hay for a penny a night there, so that thou couldst get nowhere that kind of way, thou didst grease the horses' teeth that they should not eat hay. Then thou wouldst tell the rider his horse no hay would eat. Then the man would say, give him some other kind of meat. Sir, I shall give him oats. Shall I give him oats, vetches, peas, barley, or bread? But whate'er thou givest him, thou stolest 3/4 when he was in bed. And now thou art so proud that thy filching and cozening art. But I think one day thou wilt not be proud of the rope and the cart. What a wise fellow's counsel! Take a wise fellow's counsel, fraud. Leave thy cozening and filching.
Thou whoreson rascal swat, avaunt! I'll bang thee for thy brawling. How darest thou defame a gentleman that hath so large a living?
Oh, goodly gentleman, ostler, I think none of all you will believe him.
What a clench-poop drudge is this? I can forbear him and no more.
My good friend Fraud, refrain, and care not, therefore, 'tis simplicity that patch. He knoweth not good from bad, and to stand in contention with him I would think you were mad. But tell me, Fraud, tell me, hast thou been an ostler in thy days?
Tut! I have proved 100 such ways, for when I could not thrive by all other trades, I became a squire to wait upon jades. But then was then, and now is now. But let that pass, I am as thou seest me. What care I the devil what I was?
You say you go to London, in faith, have with you then.
Nay, come and go with me, good honest man. For if thou go with him, he will teach thee all his knavery. There is none will go with him that hath any honesty. A bots on thy motley beard. I know thee, thou art Dissimulation, and hast thou got an honest man's coat to semble this fashion? I'll tell thee what, thou wilt even semble and cog with thine own father, a couple of false knaves together, a thief and a broken. Thou makes townsfolk believe thou art an honest man. In the country thou dost nothing but cog, lie, and foist with hypocrisy, and shall be hanged together, and go along together for me. For I should go, the folks would say, we were knaves all three.
Friend Usury, I think we were well near our journey's end. But knowest thou whom I have espied?
No,
Fraud, our great friend.
and I see another that is now coming to my remembrance.
Who is that?
Harry, Master Davy Dissimulation, good helper and our old acquaintance.
Now all the cards in stock are dealt about. The 4 knaves in a cluster comes ruffling out.
What? Fraud and Dissimulation happily found out. I marvel what piece of work you two go about.
Faith, sir, we met by chance and towards London are bent.
And to London we hie. It is our chiefest intent, to see if we can get entertainment of the ladies, or no.
And for the selfsame matter, even thither we go.
Then we're luckily well met, and seeing we wish all for one thing, I would we our wills in wishing might win.
Yes, they will be sure to win the devil and all, or else they'll make a man to spew out his gall. Oh, that vile usury! He lent my father a little money, and for breaking one day he took the fee simple of his house and mill quite away, and yet he borrowed not half a quarter as much as it cost, but I think if it had been a shilling it had been lost. So he killed my father with sorrow and undoed me quite. And you deal with him, sirs, you shall find that a knave full of spite and simony are Simony. Too, he is a knave for the nonce. He comes to have 20 livings at once, and if he let an honest man as I am to have one, he'll let it so dear that he shall be undone. And he seeks to get parsons' livings into his hand, and puts in some old dunce that is to his payment will stand. So if the parsonage was worth of 40 or 50 pound a year, he will give 120 nobles to mumble service once a month there.
What rascal is he?
that speaketh
thus
by such villainy?
Sirs, he was at us erstwhile too. It is no matter. It is a simple soul called Simplicity. But here come two of the ladies. Therefore, make ready.
But which of us all shall first break the matter?
Marry, let Simony do it, for he finally can flatter.
Nay, sirs, because none of us shall have preeminence above other. We shall sing in fellowship together, like brother and brother.
Truth agreed, my masters. Let it be so.
Nay, and they sing, I'll sing too.
Good ladies,
Ladies,
take
take
pity and
pity
grant our
and
desire.
Speak boldly and tell me what is it you require.
Your service,
service,
good ladies, we
Ladies,
do
what we
crave.
crave.
We like not, nor list not such servants to have.
If you
If
entertain
you
us,
entertain us, we
we
trust
trust
you.
you.
We will be.
But
if you refrain
us,
then most unhappy.
unhappy,
We will
we will
come,
we
come,
will come, we will run, we will
then
bend
we
at your
will
back.
bend at your back, we will
Lie,
apply
we will
apply
hide, for fear of your
fear of
check.
check.
You do feign, you do flatter, you do lie, you do prate. You will steal, you will rob, you will kill in your hate. I deny you, I defy you. Then cease of your talking. I refrain you, I disdain you. Therefore, get you walking. What? Fraud, dissimulation, usury, and simony. How dare you for shame presume so boldly? At once to show yourselves before love and conscience, not yielding your lewd lives first to repentance. Think you not that God will plague you for your wicked practices, if you intend not to amend your vile lives so amiss? Think you not God knows your thoughts, words, and works, and what secret mischiefs in your heart, in the hearts of you, lurks? How dare you offend his heavenly majesty with your dissimulating deceit, your flattery, and your usury?
But, sirs, seeing Lady Conscience is so scrupulous, let us not speak to her, for I see it is frivolous. But what say you, Lady Love? Will you grant us favour?
No, I'll no such servants so ill of behaviour. Servants more fitter for lucre than love, and happy are they which refrain for to prove shameless, pitiless, graceless, and quite past honesty. Then who of good conscience will hate your company?
Here is scrupulous conscience, nice love indeed. Tush, if they will not, others will. I know we shall speed.
But, lady, I stand still behind, for I am none of their company.
Oh, Lady Conscience, you are muted.
What art thou? Oh, I know, thou art Simplicity.
In faith, I am Simplicity, and would fain serve you.
No, I may have no fools dwell with me.
Why then, lady love, will you have me then?
Aye, Simplicity, thou shalt be my man.
But shall I be your good man?
Aye, my good man, indeed.
Aye, but I would be your good man and swap up a wedding with good speed.
No, love may not marry in any case with Simplicity, but if thou wilt serve me, I'll remedy it willingly, and if thou wilt not, what remedy?
Yes, I will serve you, but will you go into dinner, for I am hungry?
Come, Lady Conscience, pleaseth you to walk home from this company?
With right good will, for their sights pleaseth not me.
Fraud is the clubbish knave, and usury the hard-hearted knave, and simony the diamond dainty knave, and dissimulation the spiteful knave of spade. Come there any more knaves? Come there any more? I see 4 knaves stand in a row.
Away, drudge, begone quickly. Away, drudge, begone quickly.
Simplicity, you have a final line.
Sorry. Do trust out my eyes with a lady.
Did you ever see gentlemen so rated up before? But it skills not. I hope one day to turn them both out a door.
We were arrogantly flouted, railed at, and scoffed in our kind. That same conscience is a wild terror to man's mind. Yet faith I care not, for I've borne many more than these when I was conversant with the clergy beyond the seas. And he that will live in this world must not care what such say, for they are blossoms blown down, not to be found after me.
Faith, care that care will, for I care not a point. I have shifted hitherto, and whilst I live, I will jeopard a joint, and at my death I will leave my inheritor behind, that shall be of the right stamp to follow my mind. Therefore let them prate, till their hearts ache, and spit out their evil. She cannot quail me, if she came in likeness of the great devil.
Mass fraud, thou hast a doughty heart to make a hangman of, for thou hast good skill to help men from the cuff. But we were errantly flouted, yet I thought she had not known me. But I perceive, though dissimulation do disguise him, conscience can see. What though conscience perceive it, all the world cannot beside. Tush! There be 1,000 places where we ourselves may provide. But look, sirs, here come a lusty lady toward us in haste. But speak to her, if you will, that we may be all placed.
Pray thee do, for thou art the likeliest to speed.
Why then, I'll tout with a stomach of hope in good speed. Fair lady, all the gods of good fellowship kiss ye, would say, bless ye.
Thou art very pleasant and full of thy right, I would say rhetoric.
Lady, you look at me the worst. I beseech you, therefore, to pardon my boldness, offending no more.
We do. The matter is not great, but what wouldst thou have? How shall I call thee, and what is't thou crave?
I am called Dissimulation, and my earnest request is to crave entertainment for me and the rest, whose names are Fraud, Usury, and Simony. Great cares for your health, wealth, and prosperity.
Fraud, dissimulation, usury, and simony. Now truly, I thank you for proffering your service to me. You are all heartily welcome, and I will appoint straightway where each one in his office in great honor shall stay. But usury, didst thou never know my grandmother, the old Lady Lucre of Venice?
Yes, madam. I was servant under her, and lived there in bliss.
But why camest thou into England, seeing Venice is a city where usury by Lucre may live in great glory?
I have often heard your good grandmother tell that she had in England a daughter, which her far did excel, and that
Oh.
England was such a place for Lucre to bide, as were not in Europe, and the whole world beside. Then,
Hmm.
lusting greatly to see you at the country, she being dead, I made haste to come over to serve you in her stead.
Gramercy, usury. And I doubt not but that you shall live here as pleasantly, aye, and pleasanter too, if it may be. But Simony, from whence came ye, tell me?
My birth, nursery, and bringing up hitherto forth hath been in Rome, the ancient religious city. On the time the monks and friars made a banquet, whereunto they invited me with certain other some English merchants, which belike were of their familiarity. So talking of many matters, amongst others, one began to debate of the abundant substance still brought to that state. Some said the increase of their substance and wealth came from other princes, and was brought thither by stealth. But the friars and monks, with all the ancient company, said that it first came and is now upholden by me, Simony, which the English merchants gave ear to. Then they flattered a little too much, as Englishmen can do for advantage when increase it doth touch. And being a shipboard merry and overcome with drink on day, the wind served, they hoist sail, and so brought me away. Landing here, I heard in what great estimation you were, and made bold to your honour to make my repair.
Well, Simony, I thank thee. But as for fraud and dissimulation, I know their long continuance and afterward version. Therefore, dissimulation, you shall be my steward, an office that every man's case by you must be preferred, and you, fraud, shall be my rent gatherer, my letter of leases, and my purchaser of land, so that many old bribes will come to thy hand. And usury, because I know you to be trusty, you shall be my secretary, to deal amongst merchants, to bargain and exchange money. And Timothy, because you are a sly fellow and have your tongue liberal, I will place you over such matters as are ecclesiastical. And though we appoint sundry offices where now ye are in, yet jointly we mean to use you together oft times in one thing.
Truly, we rest
Lady,
at your
we rest at
command.
your command.
In
We
aught
can
you
be
can
man
or
or
may.
may.
Then, Master Davy, to my palace hasten thee away, and will crafty conveyance my butler to make ready the best fare in the house to welcome thee and thy company. But say dissimulation, I myself will go with thee. Gentlemen, I'll go before, but pray, in any case, so soon as ye please, resort to my place.
I warrant you, lady, we will not long absent be.
Fellow Simony, this fellow Pat, so well as heart could wish. We are cunning anglers, we have caught the fattest fish. I perceive it is true that her grandmother told. It's good to be done by use of silver and gold. And sith I am so well settled in this country, I will pinch all, rich and poor, comes to me.
And sirrah, when I was in Rome and dwelt in the friary, they would talk how England yearly sent over a great mass of money, and that this little island was worth more to the Pope than 3 bigger realms, that which had a great deal more scope. For here were smokepence, peterpence, and ballpence to be paid, besides much other money than that to the Pope's use was made. Why, it is but lately since the Pope received this fine, not much more than 26 years. It was in Queen Mary's time, but I think England had never known what this year had meant, if Friar Austin from the Pope hadn't hither been sent. For the Pope, hearing it be a little island, sent him with a great army over, and winning the victory, he landed about Rye, Sandwich, or Dover. Then he erected laws having the people in subjection. So, for the most part, England hath paid tribute so long. I, hearing of the great store and wealth in the country, could not choose but persuade myself the people loved Simony.
Stay your talk till some other time. We forget my lady.
Of troth you say true, for she bade us make haste that my talk methought savoured well, and had a good taste. I judge in my mind that me be not very far from that place where dwells my lady Lucre, but here come a gentleman. Ah, so he do. Gentlemen, I pray you heartily, let me speak you. Pray you, do you not know a gentleman that Master Davy do call?
Yes, marry do I. I am he. And what would you withal?
Good, my friend, Master Davy, help me, pray you heartily for some acquaintance with Madonna Lucre, your lady.
Sir, upon condition I will. Therefore, I would you should know that on me and my fellows you must largely bestow, whose names are Fraud, Usury, and Simony, men of great credit and calling. And to get my lady's goodwill and theirs, it is no small thing. But tell me, can you be content to win lucre by dissimulation?
Good, my friend, do ask me no such a question, for he that will live this world in the world must be of the world sure, and the world will love its own, so long as the world endure.
I commend your wit, sir. But here comes my lady.
Come hither. Here's 2-3 crowns for to speak me.
Well, sir, I thank you. I will go speak for you.
Master Davy Dissimulation. What new acquaintance have you gotten?
Such a one, madam, that unto your state hath great care, and surely in my mind the gentleman is worthy to be well thought on for his liberality, bounty, and great care to seek ye.
Gentlemen, you are heartily welcome. How are you called, I pray you tell us?
Madonna, me be a merchant, and me be called Signor Mercatore.
But I pray you tell me what countryman?
Me be Madonna, an Italian.
Yet let me trouble you. I beseech you, whence came ye?
For salva vostra buona grazia, me come from Turkey.
Gramercy. But, Signor Mercatore, dare you not to undertake secretly to convey good commodities out of this country for my sake?
Madonna, me do for love of you, think no pain too much. To do anything for you, me will not crash. Me will forsake my father, mother, king, country, and more than that, me will lie and forswear myself for a quarter so much as my hat. What is that for love of lucre me dare or will not do? Me care not for all the world, the great devil, make my God angry for you.
You say well, Mercatore, yet lucre by this is not thoroughly won, but give ear, and I will show what by thee must be done. Thou must carry over wheat, peas, barley, oats, and vetches, and all kinds of grain, which is well sold beyond sea, and brings such merchants great gain. Then thou must carry beside leather, tallow, beef, bacon, bell metal, and everything. And for these good commodities, trifles into England thou must bring, as bugles to make baubles, coloured bones, glass beads to make bracelets withal. For every day gentlewomen of England do ask for such trifles from stall to stall, and you must bring more, as amber, jet, coral, crystal, and every such bubble that is light, pretty, and pleasant. They care not to have it profitable, and if they demand wherefore your wares and merchandise be, you must say, jet will take up a straw, amber will make one fat, coral will look pale when you be sick, and crystal staunch blood. So with lying, flattering, and glozing, you must utter your ware, and you shall win me to your will, if you can deceitfully swear.
Think ye not that me have carried over corn, leather, beef, and bacon too, all this while, and brought hither many bubbles, these countrymen to beguile? Yes, shall me tell you, Madonna? Me and my countrymen have sent over bell metal for make ordnance, and ordnance beside that my country and other countries be so well furnished as this country has never been espied.
Now I perceive you love me, and if you continue in this still, you shall not only be with me, but command me when and where you will.
Lady, for to do all this more for you, me be content, but I think some skull knave will put a bill in the parliament for that such a things be not brought here.
Tush, Mercatore, I warrant thee, thou needst not to fear what anyone do. There is some other will flatter, and say, they do no hurt to the country, and with a slight fetch that bill away. And if they do not, so that by act of parliament it be passed, I know you merchants have many a slight and subtle cast, so that you will by stealth bring over some great store, and say, it was in the realm a long time before, for being so many of these trifles here as there are at this day, you may increase them at pleasure when you send oversea, and do but give the searcher an odd bribe in his hand. I warrant you he will let you escape roundly with such things in and out the land. But, Signor Mercatore, I pray you, walk in with me, and as I find you kind to me, so will I favour ye.
Let me thank you, my good lady, but Master Dissimulation here is for your fellows. Fraud, usury, and simony, and say me give it them.
Ay, marry, sir, these bribes have welcome been. Good faith, I perceive. Dissimulation, fraud, usury, and simony shall live in spite of love and conscience, though their hearts it doth grieve. Mass, masters, he that cannot lie, cog, dissemble, and flatter nowadays is not worthy to live in the world, nor in the court to have praise.
I beseech you, good master Dissimulation, befriend a poor man to serve Lady Lucre, and sure, sir, I'll consider it there hereafter if I can.
What, consider me? Dost thou think I am a bribe-taker? Faith, it lies not in me to further thy matter.
Good master Dissimulation, help me. I am almost quite undone, but yet my living here too with conscience I have won, but my true working, my early rising, and my late going to bed is scant able to find myself wife and children dry bread. For there is such a sort of strangers in this country that work fine to please the eye, though it be deceitfully, and that which is slight and seems to the eye well, shall sooner than a piece of good work be proffered to sell, and our Englishmen be grown so foolish and nice that they will not give a penny above the ordinary price.
Faith, I cannot help thee. 'Tis my fellow fraud must pleasure thee. Here comes my fellow fraud. Speak to him, and I'll do what I can.
I beseech you, be good unto me, right honest gentleman.
Why and where to? What wouldst thou have me do?
That my poor estate you will so much prefer as to get me to be a workman to Lady Lucre. And, sir, I doubt not but to please you so well for your pain, that you shall think very well of me if I in her service remain.
Good fellow fraud, do so much. For I see he is very willing to live, and some piece of work to thee for thy pains he will give.
Well, upon that condition I will. But I care not so much for his gifts, as that he will by my name declare how he came by his great thrifts, and that he will set out in every kind of thing, that fraud is a good husband, and a great profit doth bring. Therefore the next piece of work that thou dost make, let me see how deceitful thou wilt do it for my sake.
Yes, I will, sir. Of that be you sure. I honour your name, while life doth endure.
Fellow fraud, here comes a citizen, as I deem.
Nay, rather a lawyer, or some pettifogger he doth seem.
Gentlemen, my earnest suit is to desire you that, and your lady's service, you would help me. For I am an attorney of the law and pleader at the bar, and have a great desire to plead for Lady Lucre. I have been earnest, sir, as is needful in such a case, for fear another come before me and obtain my place. I have pleaded for love and conscience till I was weary. I had many clients, and many matters that made my purse light and my heart heavy. Therefore let them plead for conscience and list for me. I'll plead no more for such as brings nothing but beggary.
Sir, upon this condition that you will keep men in the law 10 or 12 years for matters that are not worth a straw, and that you will make an ill matter seem good and affirmable indeed. Faith, I am content for my part. You shall speed.
Nay, fellow, thou knowest that Simony and Usury hath an ill matter in law at this time. Now, if thou canst handle the matter so subtle and fine, as to plead that ill matter good and firmable at the bar, then thou shalt show thyself worthy to win Lady Lucre. Therefore, tell me if you can or will do it, or no. If you do it, be sure to get my lady's goodwill. There you go.
By my honesty, well remembered. I had quite forgot. 'Tis about that fortnight ago that fell out the matter I wot.
Oh, tush, I can make black white and white black again. Tut, he that will be a lawyer must have 1,000 ways to feign, and many times we lawyers do one befriend another, and let good matters slip. Tut, we agree like brother and brother. Why, sir, what shall our letters rest to turn the law as we list, seeing we have them printed in the palms of our fist? Therefore doubt you not, but make bold report that I came and will plead their cause in good kind of sort.
Of troth, how likest thou this fellow Dissimulation?
Marry, I like him well. He's a cunning clerk and one of our profession. But come, sir, go with us, and we will prefer you.
A good master fraud, remember me.
Leave thy prating. I will, I tell thee.
Good master Dissimulation, think on me.
Thou art too importunate and greedy.
Come after dinner, or some other time, when we are at leisure.
Come after dinner or some other time. I think so indeed, for full little do they think of a poor man's need. These fellows will do nothing for pity and love, and thrice happy are they that have no need them to prove. God, he knows the world is grown to such a state, that men must use fraud and dissimulation too, or beg by the way. Therefore I'll do as the most doth, the fewest shall laugh me to scorn, and be a fellow amongst good fellows, to hold by St. Luke's horn.
Good cousin Simplicity, do somewhat for me.
Yes, faith, cousin Sincerity, I'll do anything for thee. Thou wouldst for me to do. What wouldst thou me to do for thee? Canst tell that?
Master, I cannot tell what shouldst do for me, except thou wouldst give me a new hat.
Alas, I am not able to give thee a new. Why, I marvel then how thou dost do. Dost thou get thy living among beggars from door to door? Indeed, cousin his Sincerity, I had thought thou wast not so poor.
Nay, cousin Simplicity, I got my living hardly, but yet I hope just, and with good conscience too, although I am restrained from my lust. But this is it, cousin Simplicity, I would request you to do for me, which is to get Lady Love and Lady Conscience hand to a letter, which by their means I may get some benefits to make me live the better.
Yes, sir, I'll do so much for thee, cousin, but hast thou any here?
Aye, behold, they are ready drawn, if assigned they were.
Let me see, cousin, for I can read. Mass, 'tis bravely done. Didst thou it indeed? Mistress Conscience, I have a matter to bequest to you two.
What is't? I doubt not but 'tis some wise thing, if it be you.
Harry, my cousin Sincerity would desire to scribe these papers here, that he may get some preferment, but I know not where.
Be these your letters? What would you have me do, and how shall I call ye?
Lady, my name is Sincerity.
And from whence come ye?
I came from Oxford, but in Cambridge I studied late, having nothing so good if I could to make better my state. But if I had, instead of divinity, the law, astronomy, astrology, physiognomy, palmistry, arithmetic, logic, music, physic, or any such thing, I had not doubted then, but to have had some better living. But divines that preach the word of God sincerely and truly are in these days little or nothing at all set by. God grant the good preachers be not taken away for our unthankfulness. There was never more preaching and less following. The people live so amiss. But what is he that may not on the Sabbath day attend to hear God's word? He will rather run to bowls, sit at the alehouse, and 1 hour afford telling a tale of Robin Hood sitting at cards, playing at skittles, or some other vain thing, that I fear God's vengeance on our heads it will bring. God grant amendment. But Lady Conscience, I pray, in my behalf unto Lucre, do what ye may.
Mass, my cousin can say his book well. I had not thought it. He's worthy to have a benefice, and it will hit.
God be blessed, Sincerity, for the good comfort I have of thee. I would it lay in us to pleasure such, believe me. We will do what we can, but ultra passe non esse, you know. It is Lucre that hath brought us poor souls so low. For we have sold our house, we are brought so poor, and fear by her shortly to be shut out of door. Yet to subscribe our name we will with all our heart. Perchance for our sake something she will impart. Come hither, Simplicity, let me write on thy back.
Here is the right picture of that fellow that sits in the corner.
Lady, methinks you are busy.
I have done, sir. I was setting my hand to a letter for Lucre, for our friend Sincerity. But would Lady Love were here too?
She is at home with me, but if it please, so much in her behalf I will do.
I pray you heartily, and it suffice to turn well enow. A good Simplicity, once more thy body do bow.
I think I shall serve to be a washing block for you. I would do it for you, but I am afraid yonder boy will mock me.
No, I warrant thee.
Here, take thy letters, Sincerity, and I wish them prosperous to thee.
I yield you most hearty thanks, my good lady.
Lady Conscience, pleaseth it you to walk home to dinner with me?
I give you thanks, my good friend Hospitality, but I pray you, sir, have you invited to dinner any stranger?
No, sure, none but Lady Love and 3 or 4 honest neighbours.
Mass, my lady is gotten to dinner already. I believe she rose at 10 o'clock. She is so hungry. What? And I should come to dinner. Hast thou any good cheer?
I have bread and beer, 1 joint of meat, and welcome, thy best fare.
Why, art thou called Hospitality, and hast no better cheer than that? I'll tell thee, if thou hast no more meat for so many, they'll ne'er be fat. That of my cousin, nay, I myself alone to dinner would come. Where should my lady and the rest dine? For I could eat up every crumb. And thou art an old miser, dost thou keep no better fare in thy house? Hast thou no great bag pudding, nor hog's face that is called souse?
My friend, hospitality doth not consist in great fare and banqueting, but in doing good unto the poor, and to yield them some refreshing. Therefore, thou in sincerity will come and take part. Such as I have, I'll give you with a free and willing heart.
He speaks well, cousin. Let's go to dinner with him. The old man shall not think but we will pleasure him. Faith, he might have richer fellows than we to take his part, but he shall never have better eating fellows, for he would swelt his heart. Here be them that will eat with the proudest of them. I'm sure my mother said I could eat so much as 5 men. Nay, I have a gift for eating, I tell ye, for our mates would never behave. I believe I put all the meat in my belly, for I have spied a knave, my lady Lucre's cogging man. Give me your letters, cousin. I'll prefer ye if I can.
Dissimulation! Out upon him, he shall be no spokesman for me.
Why, then you are a fool, cousin Sincerity. Give him to me. Give me him. I'll tell ye, I know he'll do it for me.
Seeing thou wilt have it, here receive it. But yet it grieves my heart that this dissembling wretch should speak on my part.
Hear ye, sir, I would request you to deliver this letter to your good, wholesome mistress, Lady Lucre.
Where hadst thou it? Tell me.
Marry, of my cousin Sincerity.
Why, I have nothing to do in it. 'Tis not to me thou shouldst come. I have naught to do with Sincerity's matters. 'Tis my fellow Simony's room.
Thou art akin to the lawyer, thou wilt do nothing without a fee. But thou, fraud, usury, nor yet Simony, shall do nothing for me, and thou wilt do it. And thou wilt not choose, but thee in their dealing I hate and refuse.
Why, and I am not bound to thee for so far as I a knave go, and therefore, in despite of thee and thy cousin, there thy letters be. What, thinkest thou by captious words to make me do it? Let them deliver your letters that hath a stomach to it.
Faith, cousin, he's such a teston and proud sembling knave that he'll do nothing, lest some bribery he have. There's a great many such promoting knaves that gets their living with nothing else but facing, lying, swearing, and flattering. Why, he has a face like a black dog, and blusheth like the backside of a chimney. 'Twas not for nothing thy godfathers a cogging name gave thee. But here comes his mistress, Lady Lucre. Now, cousin, I'll deliver your letter. Mistress, Lady Lucre, here's a letter for you.
Hast thou a letter for me? Oh.
Yes, my saint, by Saint Mary. How say you, cousin? She reads your letter, and you can flatter. Perhaps you should speed better.
Thou speakest the truth, Simplicity, for flatterers nowadays live gentlemanlike, and with praising get praise.
Sir, I have read the tenure of your letter, wherein I find that at the request of love and conscience, I should show myself kind in bestowing some spiritual living on your parsonage or benefice. It seems it stands greatly in need, as appears by this. And trust me, I would do for you, but it lies not in me, for I have referred all such matters to my servant Simony. You must speak to him, and if you can get his goodwill, then be sure of their minds to fulfill.
Lady, I shall never get his goodwill because I want ability, for he will do nothing except I bring money, and if you grant it not, then 'tis past all doubt. I shall never be the better, but go quite without.
Madam, I can tell what ye may give, not hurting yourself, whereby he may live. And without my fellow Simony's consent, if thou follow my mind, you are by wit bent.
Prithee, what is it? Thou knowest, while for their house I am in bargaining, and it be never so little, I must seem to do something.
Why, have you not the parsonage of St. Nihil to bestow? If you give him that, Simony shall never know.
Indeed, thou sayest true. Draw near, Sincerity. Lo, for their sakes, I will bestow frankly on thee. I'll give thee the parsonage of Saint Nihil to pleasure them withal, and such another to it, if thou wert till it fall.
My lady axes you, that when you will take possession of your house and lend the rest of the money.
What, are they so hasty? Belike they spend it merrily.
Faith, no, for they would eat it if they could get it when they are hungry. But you may be happy, for you have sped well today. You may thank God and good company that you came this way. The parsonage of St. Michael's by a lady. If you have nothing else, you shall be sure of a living. Besides, a good ring of bells. Cousin, I'll tell thee that what thou shalt do. Sell the bells and make money.
Thou mayst well be Simplicity, for thou showest thy folly. I have a parsonage, but what of St. Nihil? Nihil is nothing. Then where is the church or any bells for to ring? Thou understandest her not. She was set for to flout. I thought coining in their names I should go without. 'Tis easy to see that Lucre loves not love and conscience, but God, I trust, will one day yield her just recompense.
Cousin, you said that something to me you would give when you had gotten preferment of Lucre to live. And I trust you will remember your poor cousin Simplicity, and to Lady Conscience and everybody I did speak to you.
Good
Speak to me.
Simplicity, hold thy peace. My state is yet naught. I will help thee, sure, if ever I get aught. Here comes St. Nicholas Nemo. To him I will go, and see if for their sakes he will anything bestow.
You come from love and conscience, as seemseth me here. My special good friends, whom I account of most dear. And you are called Sincerity. Your state shows the same. You're welcome to me for their sakes, and for your own name. And for their sakes you shall see what I will do for you, without dissimulation, fraud, usury, or simony. But they will do nothing without some kind of gain. Such cankered corruption in their hearts doth remain. But come into dinner with me, and when you have dined, you shall have
You shall have but what? A living that is blown down with the wind.
Now, cousin, remember your friends, seeing 2 livings you have, one that this man promised, and another that the Lady Lucre gave. Mass, you be a jolly man, and you had 3 or 4 more. Let's beg space, cousin, and we shall get great store. So do thou get some more letters, and I'll get them scribed of Lady Love and Conscience, and we'll go beg livings together. We'll beg no small pence. Thou sayest, well, how sayest thou, cousin Sincerity? What do so much? If we can speak fair and semble, we shall be plaguey rich.
With Simplicity, content thee. I am never the better for this, but must of force leave off, for I see how vain it is. It boosts not Sincerity to sue for relief. So few regard me that to me is a grief. This was Nicholas Nemo, and no man hath no place. Then how can I speed well in this heavy case? And no man bid me to dinner. When shall I dine? Or how shall I find him? Where, when, and at what time? Wherefore the relief I have had and shall have is small. But to speak truth, the relief is none at all. But come, Simplicity, let us go see what may be had. Sincerity in these days was, sure, born to be sad.
Come, let's go to dinner, cousin, for the gentlemen, I think, have almost dined, and I do get some victuals enough. I'll warrant you, I will not be behind.
What if thou canst not get it then? How wilt thou eat?
Marry, on this fashion, with both hands at once, you shall see when I get meat.
His name was Nemo, and Nemo hath no being.
I believe, cousin, you be not hungry, for you stand prating. Faith, I'll go do him a pleasure, because he hath need. Yea, why, and he will needs have meat eat. I shall now, I shall see how I'll feed. I believe he will not bid me come again to him, mass, and he do, I shall find a fellow that has his eating.
Conscience, is there anybody within your house, can you tell?
There is nobody at all, be ye sure, I know certainly well.
You know, when it comes to take possession of any piece of land, must not be one within, for against the order of law it doth stand. Therefore I thought good to ask you, but I pray you think not amiss, for both you and almost all others knows that an old custom it is.
You say truth. Take possession when you please. Good leave I render you. Doubt you not, there is neither man, woman, nor child that will or shall hinder thee.
Why then, I will be bold to enter.
Who is more bold than Usury to enter? He maketh the matter dangerous where is no need at all, but he thinks it not perilous to seek every man's fall. Both he and Lucre hath so pinched us, we know not what to do. Were it not for hospitality, we knew not whither to go. Great is the misery that we poor ladies abide, and much more is the cruelty of Lucre and Usury beside. O conscience, thou art not accounted of. O love, thou art little set by, for almost every one true love and pure conscience doth deny. So hath Lucre crept into the bosom of man, woman, and child, that everyone doth practice his dear friend to beguile. But God grant hospitality be not by them overpressed. In whom by all our stay and chiefest comfort doth rest. But Usury hates hospitality and cannot him abide, because he for poor and comfortless doth provide. Here he comes, that hath undone many an honest man, and daily seeks to destroy, to face, and bring to ruin if he can. Now, sir, have you taken possession, as your dear lady willed you?
I've done it, and I think you have received your money. But this to you, my lady willed me to bid you provide some other house at hand, for she would not by her will have love and conscience to dwell in her land. Therefore I would wish you to provide ye, so ye should save charges, for a less house may serve ye.
I pray you heartily, let us stay there, and we will be content to give you £10 a year, which is the old rent.
£10 a year? That were a stale jest. I should take the old rent to follow your request. Nay, after £40 a year you shall have it for a quarter, and you may think, too, I greatly befriend ye in this matter. No longer than a quarter to you I'll set it, but perhaps my lady shall sell it, or else to some other will let it.
Well, since we are driven to this hard and bitter drift, we accept it, and are contented to make bare and hard shrift.
Then get ye gone, and see it a day your rent be ready.
We must have patience perforce, seeing there is no remedy.
What a fool was I! Repents me I have let it so reasonable. I might so well have had after 80 as such a trifle. But seeing they were distressed, they would have given largely. Perhaps I right sot, but I'll be overseen no more, believe me.
Ah, my good friend, Master Usury, by my troth, you be very well met. Me be much beholden unto you for your goodwill. Me be in your debt. But me take your part so much against the scald old child called hospitality. Did speak against you and says you bring good honest men to beggary.
Thank you, sir. He speaks such evil of me as you now say. I doubt not but to reward him for his treachery one day.
But I pray, tell me how fair my lady all this while.
Very, very well, sir. And here she comes. if myself I do not beguile.
What, Signor Mercatore? I have not seen you many a day. I marvel, what is the cause you kept so long away?
Shall me say you, Madonna, that me have had much business for you in hand, for send away good commodities out of this little country. England, me have now sent over brass, copper, pewter, and many other things. And as for me, shall for gentlewomen's fine trifle, that great profit will bring.
I perceive you have been mindful of me, for which I thank ye. But Usury, tell me, how have you fared in that you went abroad? About.
Indifferently, lady, you need not to doubt. I've taken possession, and because they were destitute, I've let it for a quarter, my tale to conclude. Harry, I have a little raised the rent, but it is but £40 by the year. But if it were to let now, I would let it more dear.
Indeed. 'Tis but a trifle, it makes no matter. I thought not greatly, being but by a quarter.
Madonna, let me tell ye what ye shall do. Let them to strangers that are content to dwell in a little room and pay much rent. For you know the Frenchmen and the Flemings in this country be many, so that they make shift to dwell 10 houses in one very gladly, and be content for pay 50 or £30 a year, for which the Englishmen say 20 mark is too dear.
Why, Signor Mercatore, think you not that I have infinite numbers in London that my want doth supply? Beside, in Bristol, Northampton, Norwich, Westchester, Canterbury, Dover, Sandwich, Portsmouth, Plymouth, and many more that great rents upon little room to bestow. Yes, I warrant you, and truly I may thank the strangers for this, that they have made houses so dear, whereby I live in bliss. But, Signor Mercatore, dare you to travel undertake, and go amongst the Moors, Turks, and pagans, for my sake?
Madonna, me dare to go to the Turks, Moors, pagans, and more too. What do me care? And me go to the devil, great for you. Me commanda me, madam, and you shall see plain I did not do for your sake, me refuse no pain.
Then, Signor Mercatore, I am forthwith to send ye from hence to search for some new toys in Barbary and in Turkey, such trifles as you think will please wantons best, for you know in this country 'tis their chiefest request.
Indeed, the gentlewoman's hereby so much vain toys that we strangers are often to think where they have their joys. Fate, Madonna, me will search all the strange countries me can tell. But me will have such things that please these gentlewomen's fair.
Why then, let us provide things ready to haste you away.
A vostro comandamento, Madonna, mi obey. Now proceed with your tale, and I'll hear thee.
So, sir, as I was about to tell you, the same Presco and this same Krakow be both my parishioners now, and, sir, they fell out marvelously together about you. The same Krakow took your part, and said that the clergy was upholden by you, and maintained very worshipfully. So, Sir Presco, he would not grant that in no case, but said that you did corrupt the clergy, and dishonor that holy place. Now, sir, I was weary to hear them at such strife, for I love to please men. And so as I have life, therefore I beseech your mastership to speak to Lady Lucre, that I may be her chaplain, or else to serve her.
What is your name?
Sir Peter.
What more?
Forsooth, pleaseman.
Then your name is Sir Peter Pleasman.
Aye, forsooth.
And pleasewoman too, now and then?
You know that homo is indifferent.
Now, surely a good scholar in my judgment. Pray, at what university were ye?
Of no university, truly, Mary. I have gone to school in a college, where I have studied 2 or 3 places of divinity, and all for Lady Lucre's sake, sir. You may steadfastly believe me.
Nay, I believe ye, but of what religion are you, can ye tell?
Marry, sir, of all religions, I know not myself very well.
You are a Protestant now, and I think to you that will grant.
Indeed, I have been a Catholic, marry now for the most part a Protestant, but if my service may please her, hark in your ear, sir, I warrant you my religion shall not offend her.
You say well, but if I help you to such great preferment, would you be willing that for my pain I shall have yearly half the gain? For it is reason, you know, that if I help you to a living, that you should unto me be somewhat beholding.
Aye, sir, and reason is good. I'll be as your mastership please. I care not what you do, so I may live at ease.
Then this man is answered, Sir Peter Pleasman, come in with me, and I'll prefer you straight away to my lady.
Oh, sir, I thank ye.
You think I am going to market to buy roast meat, do you not? I thought so, but you are deceived, for I wot what I wot. I am neither going to the butcher's to buy veal, mutton, or beef, but I am going to a bloodsucker. And who is it? Faith, Usury, that thief. Why, sirs, 'twas no Markel. He undid my father, and that was called plain dealing. When he was undone, my lady and conscience too, with his usuring, I'll tell you, sirs, trust him not, for he'll flatter Boniface and so till he has gotten the baker advantage, and then he'll turn you out of door.
Simplicity, now of my honesty, very heartily well meant.
What semblance swear not, for thou swearest by that thou couldst not get. Thou have honesty now? Why, honesty is quite gone, Mary. Thou hadst honesty at 11 of the clock, and went from you to at noon. Why, how canst thou have honesty when it dare not come nigh thee? I warrant, nation, he that has less honesty than thou may defy thee. Thou hast honesty, Sir Reverence, come out, dog, where art thou? Even as much honesty as had my mother's great hoggish sow. No, faith, thou must put out my eye with honesty, and thou hast it here. Hast not left it at the alehouse engaged for a pot of strong beer?
Pray thee, leave prating, Simplicity, and tell me what thou hast there.
Why, 'tis nothing for thee, that dost not deal with such kind of ware. Sirrah, there's no deceit in a bag pudding, is there? Nor in a plain pudding pie, but there is deceit, and knavery too, in thy fellow that is called usury. Sirrah, I'll tell thee. I want not tell thee, and yet I'll tell thee now. I remember me too. Canst tell, or wouldst thou, whither with this parliament I go? Faith, even to suck swill, thy fellow usury I am sent, with my lady love's gown, and lady conscience too, for a quarter's rent.
Alas, poor lady love, art thou driven so low? Some little pittance on thee I'll bestow. Hold, Simplicity, carry her 3 or 4 ducats from me. I'll commend me to her even very heartily.
Duck eggs? Yes, I'll carry them, and 'twere as many as this would hold.
Tush, thou knowest not what I mean. Take this, 'tis gold.
Mass, 'tis gold indeed. Why, wilt thou send away thy gold? Hast no more need? I think thou art grown plaguy rich with thy dissembling trade. But I'll carry my lady the gold, for this will make her well apaid.
And, sirrah, carry lady love's gown back again, for my fellow usury shall not have her gown. I am sure so much he will befriend me.
But what shall Conscience's gown do? Shall I carry it back again too?
Nay, let Conscience's gown and skin to usury go. If nobody cared for conscience more than I, they would hang her up like bacon in a chimney to dry.
Faith, I told thee thou carest not for conscience nor honesty. I think indeed it will never be the death of thee, but I'll go dispatch my errand as soon as I can, I tell ye. For now I have gold, and I would fain have some good meat in my belly.
Nay, I'll hie me after, that I may send back Lady Love's gown, for I would not have love bought quite out of town. Marry, for conscience, I care not two straws, but why should I take care of her? I know not no kind of cause.
Oh, what shall I say? Usury hath undone me, and now he hates me to the death, and seeks by all means possible for to bereave me of breath. I cannot rest in any place, but he hunts and follows me everywhere. But I know no place to abide, I lived so much in fear. But, alas, here comes he that will shorten my days.
Oh, have I caught your old grey beard? You be the man whom the people so praise. You're a frank gentleman and full of liberality. Why, who had all the praise in London or England but Master Hospitality? I'll master you now. I'll hold you a groat.
What, will you kill me?
No, I'll do nothing but cut thy throat.
Oh, help, 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 for God's sake.
What lamentable cry did I hear one make?
Oh, Lady Conscience, now or never, help me.
What will thou do with him, Usury?
What will I do with him? Marry, cut his throat, and then no more.
Oh, dost thou not consider that thou shalt dearly answer for hospitality, that good member? Refrain it therefore.
Refrain me no refraining, nor answer me no answering. The matter is answered well enough in this thing.
For God's sake, spare him. For country's sake, spare him. For pity's sake, spare him. For love's sake, spare him. For conscience' sake, forbear him.
Let country, pity, love, conscience, and all go in respect of myself. Shall die. Come, ye feeble wretch, I'll dress ye like an ell.
But yet, Usury, consider the lamentable cry of the poor. For lack of hospitality, fatherless children are turned out of door. Consider again the complaint of the sick, blind, and lame, that will cry unto the Lord for vengeance on thy head in his name. Is the fear of God so far from thee that thou hast no feeling at all? Repent, Usury, leave hospitality, and for mercy at the Lord's hand call.
Thee, prating conscience, thou canst not mollify my heart. He shall, in spite of thee and all other, feel his deadly smart. Yet I'll not commit the murder openly, but hell the villain into a corner, and so kill him secretly. Come, ye miserable drudge, and receive thy death.
Good lady, help, he will stop my breath.
Alas, I would help thee, but I have not the power.
Farewell, Lady Conscience, you shall have hospitality in London nor England no more.
Oh, help, help, help some good body.
Is it who that calls for help so lustily?
Out, alas, thy fellow Usury hath killed hospitality.
No, God's blessing on his heart. Why? 'Twas time that he was dead. He was an old toe, with never a good tooth in his head, and he ne'er kept no good cheer that I could see. For if one had not come at dinner time, he would have gone away hungry. He should have gone away hungry, and I could never get my belly full of meat. He had nothing but beef, bread, and cheese for me to eat, for I would have some pies or bag puddings with great lumps of fat. But I warrant ye, he did keep my mouth well enough from that. Faith, and he be dead. He is dead. Let him go to the devil, and he will. For if I will not go thither, let him even lie there still. I ne'er make lamentation for an old churl, for he has been a great while, and now 'tis time that he were out of the world.
Ah, Conscience, thou look'st like a poor pigeon pulled of late.
What, Lucre, thou lookst like a whore full of deadly hate.
Alas, Lucre, I am sorry for thee, but I cannot weep.
Alas, Lucre, I am sorry for thee that thou canst no honesty keep. But such as thou art, such are the attenders on thee, as appears by thy servant Usury, that hath killed the good member Hospitality.
Faith, Hospitality is killed, and hath made his will, and hath given Dissimulation 3 trees upon a high hill.
Come hither, Dissimulation. Hie you hence, so far as you may, and help thy fellow Usury to convey himself out of the way. Further will the justices, if they chance to see him, not to know him, or, knowing him, not by any means to hinder him, and they shall command thrice so much at my hand. Oh, run! Wait! Why dost thou stand?
Nay, good lady, send my fellow Simony, for I have an earnest suit to ye.
Then, Simony, go do what I have read.
I run, madam, your mind shall be fulfilled.
Well, Lucre, audeo et takeo, I see and say nothing, but I fear the plague of God on thy head it will bring.
Good lady, grant that love be your waiting maid, for I think, being brought so low, she will be well paid.
Speak'st thou in good earnest, or dost thou but dissemble? I know not how to have thee, thou art so variable.
Lady, though my name be Dissimulation, yet I speak bona fide now, if it please you my petitions to allow.
Stand by, I'll answer thee anon. What news, Simony, bringest thou of thy fellow Usury?
Marry, madam, good news, for Usury lies close, hid in a rich man's house that will not let him loose until they see the matter brought to a good end. For Usury in this country has many a good friend, and late I saw Hospitality carried to burying.
I pray thee, tell me, who were they that followed?
There were many of the clergy, and many of the nobility, and many right worshipful rich citizens, substantial graziers, and very wealthy farmers. But to see how the poor followed him, it was a wonder. Never yet at any burial have I seen such a number.
But what say the people of the murder?
Many are sorry, and say 'tis great pity that he was slain. But who be they, the poor, beggarly people that so complain? As for the other, they say 'twas a cruel, bloody fact, but I perceive none will hinder the murderer should this cruel act.
'Tis well, I am glad of it. Now, Dissimulation, if you can get love's goodwill, I am contented with all my heart to grant thereuntil.
I thank you, good lady, and I doubt not but she, with a little entreaty, will thereto agree.
Now I have it in my breeches, and very well can tell that I and my lady with Mistress Lucre shall dwell. But if I be her serving fellow and dwell there, I must learn to cog, lie, foist, and swear, and surely I shall never learn. Marry, and 'twere to lie abed all day, I know that to that kind of living I should give a good say, for all if 'twere to eat one's meat, then I knew what I had to do. How say ye, sirrah, can I not? I'll be judged by you.
Now to you, little mouse. Did I not tell you before that I should ere long turn you both out of door? How say you, pretty soul, is't come to pass, yea or no? I think I have pulled your peacock's plumes somewhat low, and yet You be so stout as though you feel no grief, but I know, ere it be long, you will come puling to me for relief.
Well, Lucre, well, you know pride will have a fall. What advantage is it thee to win the world and lose thy soul withal? Yet it is, yet better it is to live with little and keep a conscience clear, which is to God a sacrifice and accounted of most dear.
Nay, conscience, and ye be bookish, I mean to leave ye, and the cold ground to comfort your feet I bequeath ye. Methink you being so deeply learned, may do well to keep a school. Why, I have seen so cunning a clerk in time to prove a fool.
Sirrah, if thou shouldst marry my lady, thou wouldst keep her brave, for I think now thou art a plaguy rich knave.
Rich I am, but as for a knave, keep that to thyself. Come, give me my lady's gown, thou ass-headed elf.
Why, I'll go with thee, for I must dwell with my lady.
Pack hence away, or Jack Drum's entertainment. She will none of thee.
This is my cousin, and I went to Master Nemo's house. This has my cousin, and I went to Master Nemo's house. There was nobody to bid a dog drink, nor to change a man's louse. But, Lady Conscience, nay, who there? Scratch that name away. Can she be a lady that is turned out of all her beret? Do not be called more lady, and if you be wise, for nobody will mock you and say you are not worth 2 butterflies.
What remedy? Simplicity. I cannot do with all. But what shall we do? Whereto shall we fall?
Why, to our victuals. I know nothing else we have to do, and mark, if I cannot eat 20 times as much as you.
If I go lie in an inn, I shall be sore grieved to see the deceit of the ostler, the polling of the tapster, as in most houses of lodging they be. If in a brewer's house, at the overplenty of water and the sacred scarceness of malt, I should grieve, whereby to enrich themselves, all other with unsavory thin drink they deceive. If in a tanner's house, with his great deceit in tanning, if in a weaver's house, with his great cozening in weaving, if in a baker's house, with light bread and very evil working, if in a chandler's, with deceitful weights, false measures, selling for a halfpenny that is scant worth a farthing, and if in an alehouse, with a great resort of poor unthrifts, that with swearing at the cards consume their lives, having greater delight to spend a shilling that way than a groat at home to sustain their needy children and wives. For which I judge it best for me to get some solitary place where I may with patience this my heavy cross embrace, and learn to sell broom whereby to get my living, using that as a quiet mean to keep myself from begging. Wherefore, simplicity, if thou wilt do the like, settle thyself to it, and with true labor thy living do seek.
No, faith, Mistress Conscience, I'll not. For, and I should sell broom, the maids would cozen me to come perpetually with their old shoon, and too I cannot work, and you would hang me out of the way. For when I was a miller, Will did grind the meal while I did play, and therefore I'll have as easy an occupation as I had when my father was alive. Faith, I'll go even a begging. Why, 'tis a good trade. A man shall be sure to thrive, for I am sure my prayers will get bread and cheese, and my singing will get me drink. When shall not I do better than Mistress Conscience? Tell me as you think. Therefore, God pan in the kitchen, and God pot in the buttery. Come and resist me, that I may sing with a more melosity, but, sirs, mark my colder countenance when I begin. But yonder is a fellow that goes to gapes to bite me, or else to eat that which I sing. Why, art thou a fool? Canst thou not keep my mouth straight together, and when it comes, snap at it, as my father's dog would do at a liver? Thou oughtst not so, but thou art so greedy that thou thinkst to eat before it comes nigh thee. Simplicity sings, and experience doth prove, no bidding in London for conscience and love, and country hath no peer, where conscience comes not once a year, and love so welcome to every town, as a wind that blows the houses down. Sing down, 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 down. Simplicity sings it, and experience doth prove, no dwelling in London, no bidding in London, no biding in London, nor for conscience and love. Now, sirrah, hast eaten up my song? And ye shall eat no more today, for everybody may see your belly is grown big with eating up our play, and has filled his belly, he has filled his belly, but I am never a whit the better, therefore I'll go seek some victuals, and member, for eating up my song, you shall be my debtor.
But, Signor Mercatore, tell me, did you serve me well or no, that having gotten my money would seem the country to forego? You know, I lent you 2,000 ducats for 3 months' space, and ere the time came, you got another 1,000 by flattery and thy smooth face. So, when the time came that I should have received my money, you were not to be found, but was fled out of the country. Surely, if we that be Jews should deal so with one another, we should not be trusted again of our own brother. But many of you Christians make no conscience to falsify your faith and break your day. I should have been paid at 3 months' end, and now it is 2 years you have been away. Well, I'm glad you be come again to Turkey. Now, I trust I shall receive the interest of you. So else the principal.
Ah, good master Geronto, pray heartily, bear me a little while, and me shall pay ye all without any deceit or guile. Me have much business for my pretty next to send to England. Good sir, bear me for 5 days, I will dispatch you your money out of hand.
Signor Mercatore, I know no reason why, because you have dealt with me so ill. Sure, you did it not for need, but of set purpose and will. And I tell you, to bear with ye 4 or 5 days goes sore against my mind, lest you should steal away and forget to leave my money behind.
Pray heartily, do think no such thing, my good friend of me. Be my throat and faith, me pay you all, every penny.
Well, I'll take your faith and troth for once and trust to your honesty, and hope that for my long tarrying you will deal well with me. Tell me where you would buy for England such necessaries as they lack.
Oh no, like some pretty fine toy or some new fantastic knack, for the gentlewomen in England buying much things for fancy. You pleasure me, sir. What me mean thereby?
I understand you, sir, but keep touch with me, and I'll bring you to great store, such as I perceive you came to this country for, as musk, amber, sweet powders, fine odors, pleasant perfumes, and many such toys, wherein I perceive consisteth that country gentlewoman's joys. Besides, I have diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, smaragdines, opals, onyxes, jacinths, agates, turquoise, and almost any kind of precious stone, and many more to fit things to suck away money from such green-headed wantons.
Faith, my good friend, me thank you most heartily always. Me shall content your debt within this 2 or 3 days.
Well, Look, you do keep your promise, and another time you shall command me. Come, go we home, where our commodities you may at pleasures see. New brooms, green brooms, will you buy any? Come, maidens, come quickly, let me take a penny. My brooms are not steeped, but very well bound. My brooms are not crooked, but smooth cut and round. I wish it should please you to buy of my broom, then would it well ease me, if market were done. Have you any old boots, or any old shoon, pouch rings or buskins to cope for a new broom? If so you have, maidens, I pray you bring hither, that you and I friendly may bargain together. New brooms, green brooms, will you buy any? Come, maidens, come quickly, let me take a penny. I am thus driven to make virtue of a necessity, and seeing God Almighty will have it so, I embrace it thankfully, desiring God to mollify and lessen Usury's hard heart, that the poor people feel not the like penury and smart. But usury is made tolerable among Christians as a necessary thing, so that, going beyond the limits of our law, they extort, and many to misery bring. But if we should follow God's law, we should not receive a bud that we lend. For if we lend for reward, how can we say our neighbors are our friend? Oh, how blessed shall be that man be that lends without abuse, but thrice accursed shall he be that greatly covets use. For he that covets overmuch, insatiate in his mind, so that to perjury and cruelty he be wholly inclined. Wherewith they sore oppress the poor by divers sundry ways, which makes them cry unto the Lord to shorten cutthroats' days. Paul calleth them thieves that doth not give the needy of their store, and thrice accursed are they that take 1 penny from the poor. But while I stand reasoning thus, I forget my market clean, and sith God has ordained this way, I am to use the mean. Have you any old shoes or any old boots? Have you any buskins, or will ye buy any broom? Who bargains or chops with conscience? What, will no customer come? Usury, I can't hear you.
Who is it that cries brooms? What, conscience, selling brooms about the street?
What, usury? It is great pity thou art unhanged yet.
Believe me, conscience, it grieves me thou art brought so low.
Believe me, usury, it grieves me that thou wast not hanged long ago. For if thou hadst been hanged, before thou slewest hospitality, thou hadst not made me and thousands more to feel like poverty.
Methought I heard one cry brooms along the door.
Ay, marry, madam, it was conscience, who seems to be offended at me very sore.
Alas, conscience, art thou become a poor broom-wife?
Alas, Lucre, wilt thou continue a harlot all the days of thy life?
Alas, I think it is a grief to see that thou art so. Oh,
Alas, Lucre, I think it no pain to thee that thou still playest the whore.
well, conscience, that sharp tongue of thine hath not been thy furtherance. If thou hadst kept thy tongue, thou hadst kept thy friend, and would not have had such hindrance. But what dost thou who shall be married tomorrow? Love with my dissimulation, for I think to bid the guests they are by this time well nigh gone, and having occasion to buy brooms, I cannot if I buy them all.
Then give me a shilling, and with a good will, have them you shall.
Usury, carry in these brooms and give them to the maid, for I know of such store she will be well apaid. Hold, conscience, though thy brooms be not worth a quarter so much, yet to give thee a piece of gold, I do it not grudge. And if thou wouldst follow my mind, thou shouldst not live in such sort, but pass thy days with pleasure, store of every kind of sport.
I think you lead the world in a string, for everybody follows you. And sith everyone doth it, why may not I do it too? For that I see your free heart with great liberality, I marvel not that all people are so willing to follow ye.
And sweet soul, mark what I would have thee do for me. That is, to deck up thy poor cottage handsomely, and for that purpose I have 5,000 crowns in store, and when it is spent thou shalt have twice as much more, but only see thy rooms be neat, when I shall thither resort with familiar friends to play and pass the time in sport, for the deputy, constable, and spiteful neighbours do spy, pry, and eye about my house, that I dare not be once merry within, but still mute as a mouse.
My good lady Lucre, I will fulfill your mind in every kind of thing, so that you shall be welcome at all hours, whomsoever you bring. And all the dogs in the town shall not bark at your doings, I trow, for the full pretence and intent I do thoroughly know, even so well as if you had opened the very secrets of your heart, for which I doubt not but to rest in your favor by my desert. But here comes your man Usury.
I'll send him home for the money. Usury, step in and bring me the box of all abomination that stands in the window. It is little and round, painted with divers colours, and is pretty to the show.
Madam, is there any superscription thereon?
Have I not told you the name? For shame, get you gone. Well, my wench, I doubt not but our pleasures shall excel, seeing thou hast got a corner fit where few neighbours dwell, and they be of the poorest sort, which fit our turn so right, because they dare not speak against our sports and speak sweet delight. And if they should, alas, their words would not at all be weighed. And for to speak before my face, they will be all afraid.
Madam, I deem this the same to be it, so far as I can guess.
Thou sayest the truth. It is indeed. The outside shows no less. But usually, I think Dissimulation hath not seen you since your coming home. Therefore, go see him. He will rejoice when you to him are shown. It is a busy time with him. Help to further him if you can.
You may command me to attend at board to be his man.
Hold here, my sweet, and then over to see if any one. The more I do behold his face, the more my mind doth vaunt. His face is of favour. These cheeks are ruddy white, these lips are cherry red, and full of deep delight. Quick rolling eyes, her temples high, and forehead white as snow, her eyebrows seemly set in frame, with dimpled chin below. Oh, how beauty hath adorned thee with every seemly hue, and limbs and looks with all the rest proportion keeping due. Sure, I have not seen a finer soul in every kind of part that cannot choose but kiss thee with my lips, that love thee with my heart.
I have told the crowns, and here are just so many as you did me say.
Then when thou wilt, thou mayst depart, and homewards take thy way. And I pray thee, make haste in decking of thy room, that I may find thy lodging fine when with my friend I come.
I'll make speed, and where I have with brooms oftentimes been roaming, I mean henceforth not to be seen, but sit and watch your coming.
Oh, how joyful I may be that such success do find. No marvel, for poverty and desire of lucre do force them follow my mind. Now may I rejoice in full contentation that shall marry love with dissimulation, and I have spotted conscience with all abomination. But I forget myself, for I must to the wedding, both vauntingly and flauntingly, although I had no bidding.
And there we are going to stop. Everyone can come back into the room. We've stopped at the end of scene 10 because we have, broadly speaking, run out. We're not going to get to the end of it today. I think the text can move faster, but and we might have stood a chance. But you've got to get your eye in with this kind of verse, and we've been doing straightforward blank verse for ages, and we're not quite in tune, I think, to get the pace moving at the pace it could. This is landing a lot better for me than I remember it. There are big problems with it. We've just entered the big problematic plotline where it's a lot harder to dance around and see what we can do about it, because as I say, there's always a bit of an issue with anything that's inverted commas satire, that that some of the grotesques and the problematic characters are there for a purpose. But it's a lot harder to square the circle when we start heading on Mercatore's jaunt abroad, though there are some interesting modern parallels, but I'll talk about those options when we finish the play next time. But yeah, the journey of the general corruption that money does to everything. We've been here before. I say we've been here before. We've been here afterwards. We've seen this kind of logic in quite a few other plays before and since. And it's the way that the way it's written is leaning all the way back to earlier morality plays, but it's also leaning forwards to the more dynamic public theatre kind of drama that you get. So it's sort of trapped between these two styles in really interesting ways. And yeah, there's a lot of potential there, but you've got to really give it a kick up the arse, otherwise it's going to die on the floor. Thoughts from the room? Obviously, we haven't finished the play at this particular point, but many of us have been here before, so we do sort of know where it's going. It's yeah. I'm also thinking ahead to things like the contention between liberality and prodigality, which has a similar taking out of a major character halfway through the play. It's a very similar scene because they've killed hospitality. Hospitality's dead. Satire, you see. That's satire. That is, yeah. And yeah, the general corruption of everything. Lucre, you think it's the way you're surrounded by these people who are drawing everyone else in, and it's like you're not automatically the villain at the top of the play. It's like just that's what money does. It just corrupts everything it touches. That's, I think, the logic of this play. Thoughts? I'm going to keep talking until someone waves at me.
I'm just
Alexandra.
nodding along to that. I think that's great. It's not, Lucre in this one isn't presented as some great and terrible mastermind. She's just kind of, people are coming to her and she's like, yes, I'll take your trade. Yes, I'll make life worse for you. Yes, I'll, corrupt conscience because there's an opportunity here. And I think that's really nice. It's not presented as you said, it's a corrupting evil, but it isn't it's not presented as some great, brilliant, planned thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we got these vice figures around her. I mean, we got lots of allegorical figures, but we have these vices who are all sort of competing and doing different things and playing with different sort of stereotypes and sort of social problems. The price gouging that's going on with housing here. And it's like, oh, well, I tell you what, you're a bit short. I'll just buy your house from you. You can still live there. It'll be fine. That's not going to lead. That's not going to lead to any sort of problems at all. Can't imagine how that could go wrong. And it's that question. When we're talking about the question, is it satire or is it not? When a figure comes on and says, well, I need work because all them foreign workers are coming over here taking my job. Is that is that deliberate satire of someone who we're not supposed to believe that is true, or is that part of the thesis of the play? And it's quite difficult to read that moment and that character. Do we present him as just a sort of Little Englander kind of figure? I think you'd have to for today, or that kind of person. Irene.
Yes, I was really quite fascinated by the main character that I was reading, Simplicity. He starts off being, really good, and he sees the evil doers and he doesn't want anything to do with them. And then slowly he becomes this character that's sort of led by his stomach. And that's sort of this important thing, And everything else, you go hospitality can go whatever. He never gave me enough food, and all I want, and I don't actually want to work very hard because I never really did. I just want food, and I want to, get money, get stuff for nothing, and it was, I thought, for me reading it, it was a little like, oh, we're taking a little diversion of the character. I found that quite interesting.
Yes, because he's written. It's not written in full dialect, but there are sort of little nudges as to what the accent is, sort of logic is probably going for, would have been going for, and it is this character who's supposed to be presumably one of the clown, a clown part, and yet his function within the play is more complicated than that, and actually, I think there is a sort of problem with him in the sense that there's a lot of comedy business that I don't think necessarily works anymore. I think there's a lot there to be trimmed out or hollowed out and questioned as well, because that's the big question with this text is what you're doing with it and what you're saying with it when you're doing it. And there are a lot of traps in this play. I think it is more clever than we gave it credit for the first time round. I think we just landed on some of the nastiness and went, that's just nastiness for the sake of nastiness, rather than that there is a thesis going on here. That's not to say there aren't problems with it. I'll go to Alan, then Eric, then Irene.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that Simplicity is described as a miller, who proverbially were the bad guys in the country anyway, because they were notorious for effectively taking a chunk off the top of the profits. So to have him being portrayed as being the good, honest fellow is would probably have got a hollow laugh out of the crowd anyway. But
it's not that he's exceptionally honest or dishonest. It's that he's relatively simple in this context. Is probably just meaning straightforwardly uneducated rather than necessarily also foolish. I mean, there's sort of balancings going in with what he's doing. And I'm not sure we've actually fully unpacked that. I think that's one to workshop that character and find out how it works. Because actually, there's a lot of potential there with what it's doing. But absolutely right. Millers are not generally well liked because they're always expected to be shortchanging you. Eric?
Well, also, there is some physical comedy business that we can't do on Zoom. Like the stuff about Simplicity bending over. So I think it's Lady Constance who has signed the letter, and it's like, obviously that's hilarious in when it's actually happening. So you can imagine how sort of how it would play out, but obviously on Zoom it's a bit harder.
Irene.
Yeah. First of all, I knew that I could tell that there was a bit of there was some kind of regional accent, but I can't do that, so I didn't. But it's interesting because his character that's saying, I don't want to work, I just want to be given but good food, not just what hospitality was giving me, kind of plays into this narrative that, that still runs today, that some people want something for nothing and they don't want to work and they just want handouts. And I recognize that as a narrative that we hear still to this day.
Yes, and that's the thing, is this text pushes at that and then pulls away from it as well, and it's not always sure precisely which way the wind is blowing. That makes it really, really difficult. And I say tricksy in that sense to dance with. And of course we've got this grossly over the top character of Mercatore, who is just, there's nothing particularly believable necessarily about him, but then there are little shades of grey. There is something interesting about what he's doing in his mercantile exploits abroad, which are going to get mired with some stuff that is deeply problematic, but which does have some modern parallels and some interesting questions about how trade functions. So there might be, probably not an absolute analogue. There might be a route through that, or that plotline could quietly be dropped. I feel that a lot of Mercatore could actually not be there. I'm not sure how important it is to the denouement. I cannot remember. But I suspect that could be hollowed out in quite important, straightforward ways to remove some of the problems that we're gonna encounter with his abroad trade. If only for location. He suddenly, it's the only part of the play that's suddenly randomly miles away from the rest of the locus of the action, and it's quite discombobulating actually. Alan.
I just wonder whether Mercatore was actually written for a specific character actor who got a known shtick of doing Italian merchant or dodgy foreigner.
I'd be absolutely certain that the play is written on some level for the capabilities of the actors in the company at the time, and of course we're working with an author, Robert Wilson. He might be, I don't know which part he's writing for himself. I would suspect he's written Simplicity for himself. He's a clown, as I recall. So any of those, but Mercatore is as much in line as something that he's given himself to play. So it's not just writing for other people. I'm not 100% certain of how the company structures function at this point. It's very murky. Especially as also where it goes later on, because of course this is a play that gets effectively inherited by another company. So there are all sorts of interesting questions there about how the company is formed and who's playing it and when. Which I'll endeavour to read up before tomorrow. I won't. I won't have time. It's just not going to happen. Eric.
Well, I feel like even if you extract Mercatore and like that plot line, I feel like there's some stuff that you need to be careful with in terms of how, like, because the whole housing inflation thing, if you don't pay attention as an audience member, that just goes completely over your head. It's not like the usual sort of shtick of like we're going to con X character or Y character. It's so subtle because Lucre just goes, well, I just want to help you and all that stuff. She doesn't have this monologue of like, the sort of usual sort of aside to the audience of like, I'm going to con conscience into, poverty and sort of impoverish her and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah,
and the murder comes out of nowhere as well. The murder of the hospitality.
It's really interesting actually how it's sort of the problem with the plays. It's too subtle in a play that doesn't actually seem to be very subtle at all. It feels like it's hitting us over the head with bricks in the way it's written, but actually it is a sense nobody's really I mean, yes, some of the vices, the dissimulation, fraud, etc., they're turning effectively winking at the audience going, aren't we bad people? But actually quite a lot of other people have quite slippery actions and activities that are not wholly signposted as I am a truly terrible human being. Here is my wicked plan. Nobody really has a plan. They're all just bouncing off each other. That's really weird. Lynn, then Alexandra.
Well, yeah, but I think the effect of that, we're talking about Lucre isn't really, she's not an evil person per se, despite what the verbal abuse conscience levels at her. I mean, I think part of the point is that with both Mercatore and Lucre is that the what enables them to cause harm is basically sort of human moral weakness, the greed, avarice, and in the case of Mercatore, consumerism, this sort of prestige hunting and this desire for luxuries rather than leading a simple life. That's what enables them. If it weren't for that demand, they'd be powerless. So I think not making them evil shifts more of the sort of responsibility for a bad situation onto all of us, onto people in general.
Yeah, and this is something that is trying to deal with capitalism before capitalism is quite as we know it. It's this sort of
proto-capitalistic, nascent,
proto-capitalistic world. But they've got its number.
Yeah, they understand how problematic it can be. Yeah.
Alexandra.
I was basically going to say that. Um, yeah, no, it's really nice. Yes, that because it isn't at a time when it has a systematized kind of thing that can be labeled to attack. It's addressing all the issues that we now would place under. Oh yes, this is the problem of capitalism. No, it's a problem. It is a bunch of aspects of human nature that are self-serving that are bringing these individuals to do things that harm other people to gain benefits for themselves, which is what we all do. So it's really interesting to me quite how modern this approach is, as you guys were saying. And to something that you were saying earlier, Robert, about this play kind of sitting between the the style of morality plays and that kind of very clear cut nature of the early morality plays, and the later, more complex characterization, more kind of rounded construction of later drama. And I think this is great for that. It's not necessarily a great play overall. We've discussed there are problems, but in that respect, I think it's.
Yeah, I definitely think that there is a production here. Now, when we first read this, I didn't see a production out of this. That is my memory. I could be. It's years have passed, and there's its sequel as well, and I suspect the sequel is possibly perhaps where things went very downhill. But I remember coming out of it just of reading all of Robert Wilson's plays back to back, of just going, yeah, there's a big problem here. And there are problems here, and they're not small. But actually, there is something cleverer going on here than I think we first established. But hey, there's still the end of the play to go. So I don't think the end of the play is as problematic. There are some problematic things going on, definitely with Mercatore's plotline. Though there are opportunities as well as problems in there. I also recall. Anyway, we're going to try and finish this next time. I'm going to fit that in the schedule somehow, because I'm not going to leave it any too long. So we will return to this very briefly, Eric, before I close the session.
For some reason, I had thought, but I don't know if it would work. I would, in terms, because, we tend to think about, how we would perform this, where we would produce the context within which it would be produced and all that stuff. And there's a part of me going, I would do this alongside history plays where you've got stuff like Thomas More or the life and death of Jack Straw, where you've got stuff where people are actually fighting for their rights, and then you've got and then stuff like the housing crisis in London at the time, and which I may be mistaking someplace here, but I mean it's all that stuff. And then put this at, well, maybe not the end of the season, but definitely sort of in there somewhere, because then you would have reference points as well to sort of point to and go, well, this is where that comes from, and this is how this is kind of evolved, obviously, and why this is a satire and all that stuff. Unless you really want to perform modern plays, as in postmodern plays alongside this, but that would be kind of weird.
Okay, I'm sure we'll have more of this anon, but all that remains is thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.